are Kiwi farmers just stupid? Okay, like, this is, like, I still don't understand them to this day. I think the women are fine. Like, I've established that when I read posts from women on Kiwi Farms, I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see that, right? But the men on there, they must have, like, a joint IQ of, like, 30. So, here's what I mean, right? Because I'm really skinny, or I was really skinny, everyone on KF assumed I had anorexia. There was literally zero logic for this assumption, because I would eat on my streams. There was a stream where I had an entire bag of Cheetos, and my fingers were covered in Cheeto dust, and everyone laughed at me for touching my phone with Cheeto dust fingers. So people could see I eat. And I know people are going to say, oh, but anorexics eat sometimes to avoid dying or going to hospital. Okay, yeah, but there would be a whole lot more of a fucking scene about it. Right? Try get an anorexic to eat an entire bag of Cheetos. I'll have a panic attack and, like, fucking die. So, like, that was something I found really interesting, is that people now are seeing my body and they're like, oh, I thought she was anorexic. She recovered so quickly. Okay, bitch, I was never anorexic. I have hypothyroidism. And I keep telling people this, and they keep just rejecting it. They keep rejecting it as the thing I actually have. And it's like, okay, well, at this point, you're just ignoring the facts. Like, first of all, I understand the people that thought it was to do with drugs. I get that, because drugs can make you real fucking skinny really quickly, but they won't make you that skinny really quickly, okay? What I had wrong with me was a rare type of hypermetabolism and hypothyroidism that basically meant that my body would not absorb any fat that I got from my food. So that's why, by the way, that's one of the only things I believe the Jim actually has. If you look at him, in, like, the only photo we have of him, that is what hypothyroidism looks like. So that is something I believe he actually is sick with, because I have that. Now, to fix it, I had to have radiation, because mine was so advanced that my body wasn't listening to, like, any of the medications. I also got prescribed something called carbimazole to fix my thyroid, or to, like, slow it down. Now that the treatment has started, which I literally announced on Twitter when it started anyway, people can see I'm not as skinny. And Kiwi Farms' response is like, oh my gosh, she's no longer anorexic. Bro, I was never anorexic. I publicly said to everyone, everywhere, what was wrong with me. Why was there even a debate as to if I'm anorexic or not, when I myself have told people that I'm not anorexic? And that's what I think is, like, interesting about that website. It's like they want you to have, like, a mental illness rather than a physical illness. Like, they won't give anyone the, like, credit, not even credit, I hate to use that word in that context, but they won't give anyone the, like, they won't say to anyone, okay, yeah, you're sick. Like, you have a disorder. Like, I'm glad you're getting treatment. No. They'll have to pretend it's some mental disorder because they can't tolerate the fact that someone just isn't lying about their medical history, unless it's Jim. He does that. But most of the people with threads on Kiwi Farms, like, I don't think that they have a reason to lie about what's wrong with them medically. So there was someone who actually died because of her medical issues. And Kiwi Farms were like, oh my gosh, she never had Munchausen syndrome. And I was like, you guys are so fucking dense. Like, it was very obvious to everyone else that she was actually sick. But Kiwi Farms were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she died from her Munchausen syndrome. And I was like, I can't believe you guys even survive in society being as thick as you are. Fucking hell. Another thing that I think is so funny is they seem to think, okay, I want to understand their logic as to why I'm BPD. I mean, I'm not denying that I'm a cluster B disorder, but it isn't BPD, okay? Like, if I was BPD and I had my breakup with Godwinson, I would be running back to him. Like, on day 3, I would be running back, being like, I'm sorry, I was just, like, really spurgy. I would be doing all of that publicly. I'd be atting him publicly. Like, that is relationships and BPD do not go well together. And I can tell you, if I had BPD, it would have been 10 times as big of a blow up. The other thing is they don't know who they are. That scares me. That's something I don't understand about borderline personality disorder. They really freak me out because, like, they don't have a sense of identity, so they're constantly mirroring everyone around them. Whereas my approach as someone with ADHD and a personality disorder that isn't BPD is to just take the things I like that other people do and adopt those characteristics into my own personality, which is a whole different thing. BPD people will just straight up steal their fucking personalities, and that's insane to me because it means they're just blank. Like, it's scary. Isn't that scary? Like, it means, right? It means that without, like, other people, they technically don't know who they are, and I find that fucking terrifying, okay? I find it really scary. And the other thing I don't think Kiwi Farms realises is that the only reason the BPD thing even came up in relation to me was because of Josh telling everyone I was BPD because I called him out for shilling lolcow.farm and defending them when at least 12 kids had emailed me because I was that site's Vordrack and said that there was child pornography of them on that website. I am not saying I've seen it myself. I have not. But I am just saying I personally if I knew someone else had got an email about a website containing terabytes of CP, I personally wouldn't defend it. Just saying. I don't think it still has CP, because at the time, the reason it had CP was because they had a pedophile owner. And she's gone now. But Josh called me BPD for calling him out, because he was embarrassed. Because he was like, oh fuck, I didn't do my research on this place before I shilled it, and now everyone's going to think I'm a pedo. So because of that, he threw me under the fucking bus and said, oh, Elaine's so BPD, she's trying to turn websites against each other. No, you fucking moron. I'm telling you that there's CP on this site so that you don't promote them and look stupid. And it's nothing to do with women. That's another thing he said. He was like, oh, Elaine hates Trollcow Farm because they're women and they won't take her shit. No, I didn't even know that site was primarily for women at the time. I honestly thought it was a bunch of bitchy troons. I still don't think it's mainly used by women. I mean, as a woman, I'd use Crystal Cafe any day before I'd fucking use lolcow.farm. I can tell you that. But, I mean, it's nothing to do with women. It's just to do with the pedophilia that's on that site. Like, I feel like we should, like, being anti-pedophilia is something that's, like, fairly understandable regardless of gender. I don't think that the gender thing comes into that conversation, right? Like, if it's a women's site or a men's site, I don't think that matters if there's pedophiles on it, right? Like, who cares about their gender? Anyway, another thing Kiwi Farms seem, like, convinced of is that I'm British. And their evidence for this is my accent. I am so confused by this. Because that means if I put on a Jamaican accent, they would think I'm Jamaican? Is that, like, the logic? Do they think Ethan Ralph... Like, okay, so, let me explain this. They thought I was British also because I lived in Britain for a period of time. And by that logic, Ethan Ralph is Mexican and Josh is Serbian. Like, this is how stupid we're fucking talking. Like, we are talking so low IQ that they cannot tell the difference between accent, where someone lives, and ethnicity and nationality. We are literally talking so thick that these people will hear an accent and think someone is from that place and didn't just live there for a period of time. I have a friend who's, like, 100% American. And he's also aristocracy. Like, French aristocracy. I don't fucking know. Anyway, he's a bit of a twat, to be honest. He moved to London ages ago, years ago. But he had an American accent for the longest fucking time. Like, for the longest time. He sounded American, and that was the thing that sort of made him stand out in that group of friends, is that everyone was like, oh, how's America, buddy? Are you going to go to America in the summer? Anyway, halfway through, like, last year, he just changes his accent to British, because he'd like, lived in Britain long enough to be able to sort of learn the accent. So he just switched it and started talking in, like, a very posh British accent. And I thought that was so insane, but it didn't really actually, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, to be honest, if you learn an accent, switching to it isn't that difficult. But no, everyone knows he's not British, right? Just because he speaks in the accent of the place he moved to, that doesn't make him British. And that's what it's like with me. It's like I keep trying to tell people, no, me talking in a British accent or living in Britain would not make me British. Having a citizenship, maybe, having having family in Britain, maybe. My parents being from Britain, maybe. Me being from Britain, maybe. But none of those things are true. So their evidence of me being British is my accent. And isn't that just, like, the height of, like, fucking, like, stupidity? Like, when I told my friends in real life, they genuinely thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. They were like, what do you mean? They were like, what do you mean these people think you're British just because of the accent? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not kidding. And they were like, but that's so dumb. And I was like, no, I know. But, like, don't ask me, okay? Don't ask me to explain the logic of people who are so below me in IQ that I can never begin to understand them. That's why I think they don't understand me. Is it a case of them just being too thick to understand anyone that isn't? Because their logic is very simplistic. Like, they're very meat and two veg. That's a saying. That means, like, they're very simple-minded. They're very common, right? So their opinions on stuff are basically, like, what... like, they have this black and white thinking, right? Someone has to either be BPD or anorexic, but they cannot be normal. Like, they can't just be a normal person that happens to have a few lolcow traits, right? They have to either be pretending to not be British or lying in some way about their ethnicity. They can't just, you know, have moved to England and adopted the accent. They have to have the most extreme option. They have to have the worst case scenario. Like, the chances of any of the things that they hypothesize about people actually being true are so fucking low, right? Like, I don't know why they think that their website is the highest concentration of BPD Munchausen syndrome havers. I don't know why, because there's so few of those people in the world anyway. I don't know why they think they'd all congregate on Kiwi Farms. Like, do they just think that everyone that they talk about is special and, like, uniquely, like, retarded or whatever? Because that's just not how it works. Like, there are so many reasons why this... like, I like how Kiwi Farms like, oh my goodness, we finally host the website full of the biggest concentration of BPD and Munchausen syndrome havers. And it's like, no, you guys are just so bored that you'll say anyone has those things because it creates what you think is content. Even then, I don't really think it's content. I'm sorry, but let's say I did have BPD and Munchausen syndrome. Please explain to me how that's, like, entertaining, really. Like, there's a certain level of, like, mental illness where it's just not, like, if they're not spurging out, if they're just going on and on about their, like, conditions or their ailments, isn't that just boring as shit, right? Maybe I have a different taste in lolcows, okay? Maybe I'm the problem. But I am just saying, I don't understand how half the things they think are entertaining. Some of it I just think is them, is like, just, is boredom. Like, okay. With Kiwi Farms, I think a lot of the issues could be solved if the users had a fucking hobby. But this is my morning daily Kiwi Farms rant while I go and get bacon. But yeah, no, I'm so interested as to like the accent thing. Isn't that insane that these Americans are so thick that they think anyone with a British accent is British? Is that seriously how they think it works? Like, how do these people pass, like, basic education? Like, America is actually, like, needs to be, like, sanctioned for the lack of education that some of these people have. Like, read Kiwi Farms. I need to tell anyone in government, if they ask me for proof that America needs more education, to just read Kiwi Farmers' posts. Literally, just read it. That's why the website needs me and my friends, because I feel like I have this urge to educate them. And to, like, kind of, if I can't do that, I'll gay up them. Because... And it's basically mostly the men, right? Like, there are very few times I've seen someone, like, a woman on there be truly stupid. Apart from maybe Annie Adderall, who wrote my initial thread. She clicked on, like, a Trojan virus within the first week of speaking to me. Like, or, like, the first, I don't know, week's a bit of an exaggeration, but within the first year or 5 months of me having a thread, the first thing she does is click on a Trojan virus, get hacked, and end up, like, leaving the forum because of me. And I was like, That wasn't the smartest, was it? But the people who troll Lily Jean are generally just stupid. Like, any of those people, right, regardless of gender, they are thick. DSP trolls and Lily Jean trolls are basically the same fucking thing, and they're all so fucking stupid. So, I don't know. But most of the time, the women are quite a lot more intelligent than the men on KF. Like, the Chantel boards are quite funny. The ranch. I have a friend who looks at the ranch. And, like, she's definitely not stupid. I have a friend that looks at the sort of, like, who's obsessed with the whole wings boogie thing. She's not stupid. Like, it seems to just be the men on Kiwi Farms. And you know what I think it is? I think it's because the Jannies, there's a disproportionately high amount of male Jannies. And you know how I know this? It's because whenever you think you see a female Janny, if you actually look into them, they're usually just trans, right? So even the Jannies that are a female were not female originally. So there are basically so few women and, like, female culture on that website that it results in just this catastrophic, men have a way of just, just putting together the most stupid logic imaginable. Like, I don't know what it is, but they look at things in a very sort of, like, it has to be this or it can't be way. Like, they won't accept the idea that someone is just, skinny or has, like, a medical issue. No, it has to be anorexia. And this is kind of like a unique level of dumb, but I like seeing them all reply to these voice chats in my thread, because it just proves my point. Like, the more I see them reply, the more I'm like, you just don't understand what I'm saying. Like, it's not that you disagree, you're just too stupid to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, that checks out. Like, that is literally my response. It's just like, okay, you're thick. Yeah. Like, half the time I'm just sat there like, I don't know how you came to this conclusion, buddy, but I'm sure it makes sense in your head. And these people will try and say that I'm the one that's low IQ and that I'm the one that's this, that, and the other. Okay, I have a job that's, like, high paying and high skilled, and I don't have any, like, of these issues in real life. Like, my lolcowism is entirely extended to the internet, and that's it. Whereas you guys, some of you are clearly unemployed, because firstly, about jobs that are highly skilled, I'm literally just bugging because I haven't eaten yet, and, like, my sugar levels are all over the place. I'm on my way to buy bacon, though. So, like, this is the most ADHD VC I've done. But, like, with, most jobs, fun fact, block websites like Kiwi Farms. So at my work, I can't access to Kiwi Farms. It's like a prohibited website. Same with 4chan, ED. And that's not to try and censor those places. It's because they know that the amount of things that go on there, like doxing, all of that stuff, would be prohibited to do at work. And they don't want the legal repercussions of people doing those things. So that's why that is that way. But because of that, most people that have jobs won't be able to access KF unless they're literally working, like, stacking shelves at, like, a warehouse, or they're doing a gator level job. So it is basically impossible at, like, a highly skilled job to be posting on Kiwi Farms all day. So you just know that half the people in these threads talking about you are literally unemployed, like, literal neets. And sometimes I'm just like, I love how you think your opinion matters when all you do is sit on a forum all day. Like, at a certain point, I feel like there needs to be, like, a way that, at a certain point, I feel like when someone would have the same fucking social status as, like, as a literal homeless person, I just don't really care about what they have to say. I'm sorry. It's like, why should I listen to a bunch of, like, fat, unemployed Americans? Like, I just don't care. Like, I just don't care about what you have to say. Like, you can post in my thread, but most of the time I'm gonna laugh at you, because what you have to say is so fucking incredibly stupid that it could, like, belong in a history book on why America needs education.